Stop chasing. Look, it's Marcel, aka Honey Bunny Sunny, and I'm on a mission to make you some money. Listen, I got a great video for you. I'm going to jump into where I think the market is going. Where do you think the market is going? Up, down? Do we consolidate for a little bit? Do we crash? Do we go into a bear market? Is this the beginning of a bear market? I wonder. I'm gonna pull up SPY and just kind of like walk you through what my, you know, hypothesis is, or what I think is getting ready to happen based off of a few things. But I would love to hear from you all in the comments what you think is getting ready to happen next. All right, so I got SPY pulled up, and I'm looking at SPY on the daily time frame, right? So looking at SPY on the daily time frame, I also have my order block detector on, right? This is a Lux Algo indicator. Definitely recommend y'all get one of those on your charts. It's really accurate with being able to predict when to get into your orders. It gives a nice zone of when to buy into your reversals. So I would definitely take the time to add that to your charts. All right, so these are 3 order blocks. These are 3 different times that this particular indicator is saying that it's a good time to buy SPY. Now, down here is where I created SPY's gap. Let me make it a little bit longer. Right. There should be, I think that's about the size of it right there. Oh, no, probably a little bit smaller. We got that candle there. Yep. Roughly, right? Somewhere around there. Now, that's the most recent gap on SPY. I know, a lot of people have forgotten about this gap because we've been going up so much. But this gap needs to get filled. And a lot of people are just like, yo, Sel, what do you think is getting ready to happen in the market? I'm like, I think, all the things that people are saying about the end of the year are true. I think we do see, a push up, especially in the crypto space, but, also in the stock market towards the end of the year. That's just something that's pretty customary. But I do see us coming down pretty tremendously. Not necessarily bear market territory, but definitely correction territory. So a correction is defined by a stock, or not a stock, but the market pulling back. So SPY in this instance, right? SPY pulling back, 10% is a correction. SPY pulling back 20% is when we start what we would call a bear market, right? So I don't believe that that's what's happening, but I'm going to show you guys using the measuring tool exactly what that distance looks like on SPY, right? It's not it happening on an individual stock, it's it happening on indexes, markets, right? So I'm going to go over here in the left column of trading view, and I'm going to grab this measuring tool right here, and I'm going to take it from the high, right? We draw the distance of a pullback from the recent high down to where it currently is, right? So from the recent high to where it currently is, and this is on a Wednesday, it's down about 1%, right? From the recent high. All right, we're gonna get out of that. We're gonna bring this ruler back, and then we're just gonna measure down to that gap I was telling you about. It just so happens that coming down to that gap is, what did we say, 10% for correction. It just so happens that coming down to that gap is 10%, right? Coming down and filling that gap is going to be between 10 and 11%, which would be a perfect correction and what is needed for SPY to ultimately go higher as we close the year and even earlier in the part of next year. Right now, I do think that a bear market could be looming, but again, nobody can accurately predict it. There are a lot of signs that are there. So I think that this will actually be the line in the sand, right? We will come back and we will get a correction, and then we'll probably bounce back into some of these supports that have turned into resistance, and we're going to really be able to test and see exactly where the market's going from there. So I don't know exactly how soon, but I am seeing a bias to the downside. I am seeing this gap coming to get filled sooner rather than later. And then from there, we will have better information about whether the market's going to continue down and whether we are, in fact, entering a bear market, right? So that's what I see on SPY. We're also seeing a lot of stuff when you just look across tech, right? A lot of tech is sitting at highs. SPY is where a lot of stuff has made its highs. It's really hard to say if this is the beginning of a bear market. You only know once that correction takes place first. So that's the ultimate point that I'm trying to make. The next step is correction, and then from the correction, we will see if our hypothesis about it being the correction is true or if it has a little bit more way to go. So definitely, keep that in mind as you're trading. October is very volatile. There will be a lot of like just random drops and random pumps, but make sure you're paying attention to the structure and what is ultimately trying to happen in the market, right? Pay attention to higher time frames. Like, don't get too caught in the weeds. Like, keep the overall picture in mind. And when you're looking at the overall picture, it looks like it's about time for this thing to come down, right? Across the board. It's been up overextended for quite a bit of time. And now it's kind of dancing around and making this first wave down. I think we see a couple more waves down in technology, causing SPY to do the same thing. So that's my hypothesis on where the market is headed. Like I said, I would love to hear from you guys in the comments to see where you think it's headed in the crypto space and in the stock market. All right, remember, invest smart, live free. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.